Hi there, I'm John Shields from Chesapeake Bites. So are you ready? Okay, I want you to turn on your lazy boys, get them heated up. We're gonna get some cheese, we're gonna get some beer, and we're gonna put them together, and you're gonna have the best cheese beer soup that you've ever had. So get ready, and we're gonna cook. So I've been trying to pull together some recipes recently, and I'm going through a kind of by the book moment. I'm pulling out some of my old cookbooks because I wrote more than I thought I did. And this one was called Coastal Cooking. It was a PBS series, and we traveled all over the coastal US. And in it, I have a great recipe for a cheddar cheese and lager soup that I got from the Pacific Northwest. And I said to myself, well, hell, we can locavore this right up real easy. And people love cheese and they love beer, so it's actually a perfect match, especially if you have a dark beer to work with. All right, let me explain what we're doing here. So I have some luscious local butter that I have melted, and I'm gonna put in some flour. Basically, whenever you're making a roux, especially to thicken a soup or something, it's generally a combination 50-50. So it's half oil or butter and the same amount of flour. One of the things you always want to do when you're putting this together is just cook the flour and the butter for a couple of minutes. Basically what that does is it takes out any kind of like floury taste, because we want to thicken it with flour, but you don't want everybody to know that's what's in the pot. Another thing that's not necessary to do with this particular roux is to brown it. Does not need to brown, so just keep stirring it. If you want a dark roux, you want that for your gumbo. Or for maybe your turkey gravy, but I'm just going to do this for a few minutes. At the same time, while that a little bit, there's really not much to it, so I just minced some garlic, put a little bit of minced garlic in there, and some hot pepper flakes. Now be careful, don't put too many in. You could always spice this up a little bit more later, but you don't want to go too crazy with that. All right, so we got that in there. We have our red pepper flakes, and then I'm going to put just a nice pinch of salt and pepper. So I have, it's a combination of kosher salt and black pepper. Turn that around. Now let's see what's going over here in our milk department. Okay, what I'm trying to do is to get it almost boiling, but not quite, you know, and we're getting just about there now. And this is sort of the base of the soup. There's many kinds of things that you could do with this. You could turn it into kind of like a chicken and cheese soup or many things. Because this is just a real basic sauce. You're almost making a white sauce at that point. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just a little bit at a time. You don't want to put too much in at once, because what happens is it'll start to clump, and we don't want any clumping. Let's see, a little bit more here. Got to grab myself a towel here, get some of this up. Got a little bit of milk on the side. I got so excited, went all over the place. All right, okay, there we go. Get rid of this, throw that pan over there. And basically I'm just going to start and stir this and let it start to thicken up just a bit. And I'm just going to grab myself a towel here real quick, clean things up while that goes. All right, so now obviously you know some of the parts of this story, but we're talking about cheese and beer. All right, the first part up would be cheese. So I like to use a sharp cheddar. Again, we use some of the cheeses I get from South Mountain Creamery, which is up as you're going like up past Frederick, up into the Appalachians. And they make a really nice sharp cheddar as well here. So let me put this. So I turned this down, this concoction that's thickened up, because you don't want to cook this on a really, really high heat. The idea is that we're going to try to get the cheese to start melting in there. Okay, and just stir that up. And it's already melting. We're almost in a fondue look. Or a cheese dip kind of look. But I'm going to lighten that thing up because I work with and really enjoy what the folks at Peabody Heights in Brewery in Baltimore do. They're just an amazing operation. They actually are in this old kind of warehouse. It was the RC Cola warehouse that they've repurposed. Now RC Cola, so you had your Coca-Cola, you had your Pepsi Cola, and you had your RC Cola. So all the grandmothers that I knew, they all went RC. And every time I go visit my grandmother Gertie, and I said I want a cola, she'd have to go down the steps into the into the root cellar where she kept all her RC colas. She'd wash it off, and life was good. All right, so I think my cheesy stuff is done. So back to Peabody Heights. They make some of the most amazing beers. I think they're so creative. You know, I can't imagine that many breweries that are doing so many types, and they're great at doing seasonal beers as well. Their operation is so cool. It's in this great big warehouse thing. They have rooms that are dedicated to arcade games. They have other things where they have trivia nights, and they're such a community-based organization that so many nonprofits hold their meetings there, and people come from all over and they donate part of the proceeds of all the beer sold that night there. They also have a great outdoor patio. There's food trucks there. And so anyway, what I did is I got this, it's called the Trash Buster. That sounds really nice. And it's a coffee porter. So you have that dark kind of flavor. There's a number of other ones that they have that would work too. They have one that's called a Mount Clair Porter. Again, absolutely delicious. So we're going to put in about 3/4 of a cup of this. And you can do it gradually and get it sort of to the consistency that you want it to go. Because we do need a soup, you know, that is the idea. We're not looking for a dip, we're looking for the soup. So put some more of that in. Oh my God, this is some good stuff. So if you think about what 3/4 of a cup is, right? There's 8 ounces in a cup, but there's 12 ounces in the can. So you do the math. Once you get the 8 in, you can drink the other 4. That's the way I do it. I went to Parkville High School and they taught us math right off the bat. Okay, I think it's looking good. Yeah, I'm just going to tighten this up just a little bit. We'll have a little of the coffee porter. Ooh, that's good stuff. Wow, very nice. Okay, I think we're just about there. Just think about what we just did, okay? It was so easy. If you have all your ingredients together, we didn't have to do a whole lot of chopping. We didn't have to do this and that and the other thing. We just brought all this together. Now, I probably, if we weren't in TV land right now, I probably would let the soup sit for maybe an hour or so, let all those flavors sort of come together. But since I know you're all hungry and you really want to see this soup, I thought, okay, let's just do this. All right, so watch this here. We're going to take our delicious soup. Oh my, look at the texture of this. It is just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So boom, 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 boom. All right, so what would you do with this? I mean, you could serve it with some nice crusty bread from one of our local bakeries. I'm going to put a little bit of fresh chives from Gertie's Garden behind the restaurant. And then, so I was thinking, well, how could we go crazy? You know, how could we go crazy? So I found these kind of like honey cheddar pretzels. And they're actually from Hanover, Pennsylvania, so it's not really too far out of the Chesapeake watershed. And I'm just going to take some of those because, what? Cheese, beer, pretzels. My God, it's like the Holy Trinity. Take this, and we're going to just put some of these all over top. And there you go. You could make a little side salad on this. You could do, you know, kind of whatever you want. And you could use just about any dark beer in this recipe that you would like. But I highly encourage you to, you know, try some of the marvelous breweries that we have all around the Chesapeake region, all around the state of Maryland, all around the city of Baltimore. And if you get a chance, please stop by Peabody Heights Brewery. It's right off of Greenmount Avenue, about 30th Street, right in the city. And there is just such an amazing array of beers for you to try. They change all the time. The people are so nice. So again, we've just put together a lovely soup that we've used local butter. We used local milk. We used local cheese. And we found an amazing brewery with some great dark beer to come together, and we kept all the money in the local food economy. So I encourage you to do that. Get out there, shop everything local, all the people that make things, meet those people, and together we can rebuild our local food economy. And so let's get to the farmers market. Let's start shopping. And thank you so much for checking in on Chesapeake Bites. We love telling you all the best the whole region has to offer. So let's cook.